feminism, it affects me from the way I walk, from the way I talk, to the way I speak, and to the way I sit. For example, as a woman, I'm not expected to sit like this. It's what a guy sits like. I'm expected to sit like a woman. Like poise, posture, feminine. But who cares about that, right? Girl, it's the 21st century. Sit whatever I want. Wow. Whenever I talk about feminism, especially to my friends, sometimes they always make the same face where they're like, great, she's here to talk about feminism again. Because, maybe she wants more rights. Maybe she wants to talk about something that will probably help her. Because when you think of feminism, what do you think of? You first think of women. Because the word feminine is in the word feminism. So you immediately think of women's rights. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm not here to talk about women trying to promote us for selfish purposes, trying to make myself have more freedom. I'm actually here to talk about men. I'm here to talk about promoting men, giving men more rights, telling us to stop stereotyping men into a certain way where they have to be a certain way. So, as I've grown up, I've seen that men are stereotyped into being dominant, strong, full of power, full of strength, having to be unemotional, caring for themselves. They don't need anybody's help. They're independent. But the thing is, there's so many studies that show, even from when they're children, from their babies, we see that men are more emotional than women, actually. There's a study from Harvard University that shows that toddlers that are 6 months years old show that baby boys are more likely to show emotion and to express themselves more to their mothers than little girls, which is a little surprising because, as you see them grow older, that's not how they're presented. When you see little boys, there's also more studies that show that as they grow up, even when they're about 6, 7 years old, they're still more expressing to their mothers. They show feelings of anger and upset when you don't get what you want. You're children. When you don't get what you want, you cry. And so there was this video I stumbled upon when I was on Facebook, actually, where there was this little boy who was getting his vaccinations, and he was obviously terrified. I mean, how many of you are terrified of getting your vaccines? See, a lot of us. And so whether or not you're a boy or girl doesn't change whether or not you'd be scared. But then, as he was scared, his father told him, he tried to calm his child down by telling him to not be scared. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's a vaccination. But then after seeing that the little boy was clearly not calming down and even seemed more agitated, the father said, "Be a man. Be tough. Don't cry." But what's wrong with crying? What's wrong with guy cries? I mean, if a girl cries, people expect, oh yeah, she's emotional, she's maybe having her period or something. But why can't a guy cry? Why can't guys show vulnerability? Why are we taking away the human right of freedom of speech? Why aren't we allowing men to express themselves as they grow older, as they hit preteens? We sort of society pressures men to act a certain way, to be tough, to be dominant. Now, I'd like to share a story. I had a friend, or have a friend. He used to struggle with depression a lot, and oftentimes at school I'd see him cry, maybe in the back of the classroom, being obviously hurt, seriously hurt. Clinical depression is crippling. But then the first thing that pops in mind when you see a guy cry is, why is he crying? Why is he so weak? That's not what you're supposed to do. You should hold it in, right? But there's also more studies that have shown that when you hold in your anger, when you hold in your emotions, it leads to outbreaks of aggression. And so when we tell people to hold in your emotions, it's unhealthy. It causes you to eventually break. And is that really what we want? Because this is not going just to affect men. How many of you in here are men? That's like half of you. It's going to affect men. It's going to affect women. You're all friends. We're all a community here. We're all going to get affected by this stereotype of men. And that's why there has to be something done to go against this. And where do we start? Well, we see that stereotyping men starts from when they're children, from when they're about 6, 7 years old, when I told you about the video where the little boy was told to hide in his fear and vulnerability. And so we start from there, and we want to encourage guys not to hold in their emotions and tell them that they can't be a certain way. But we want to tell them to be free, to let go of your emotion, because hiding it is not just bad for them, it's bad for everybody, because it affects all of us. And therefore, that's why I would like to suggest to all of you it also starts from how you think. When you view a guy being a certain way, that's not part of the stereotype that we pressure them to be. It starts with us changing our ideals from thinking that men should be a certain way. But who says we have to group people into any certain way, men or women? We should just be free. Sounds cliche, I know. But we should start by changing first our ideals, because our ideals are what affects our actions. And like a ripple effect, it will affect the community, our community first, and then our community will affect a larger community, and eventually, starting with ourselves, it'll affect the world. But this isn't an issue that no one's ever talked about. The thing is, it's been talked about so